Russell Wilson on the Broncos. Carson Wentz to Washington. Jimmy Garoppolo's on deck. Where do you think he's going and for what?
Wow. This is such a tough one because it's like you have the people out there that said that he's not worth anything. But then, that's you. But then it's also supply and demand. It's like, you don't want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Go for it. What do you got? I watched the Saints without Drew Brees, and they look pretty bad with Ian Book. They didn't look too good with some of these other guys. So, yeah, is Jimmy perfect? No. But Jimmy's been to the NFC Championship game in 2 of the last 3 years. Yep. So there's some value in that. As far as what complicates this, as you know, Grant, is the surgery and the fact that he waited to have the goddamn surgery. So
as if he wanted to get cut. You know what I mean? Crazy. Yeah.
I mean, that one I'd like to know. I'd like to know how the Niners feel about that, if they were aware of that or if this is all catching them off guard. But that complicates things. But it's still, at the end of the day, supply and demand. And if you don't have Jimmy, who do you got? And, if you're the Colts, what are you going to go with? Jacob Eason? I don't think so.
Let me try to be the devil's advocate here. I'd rather sign Jameis Winston. He'll be cheaper. I mean, his TD to INT ratio last year was 14-3. I know he was a turnover machine when he was younger, but I know he tore his ACL last year. I would rather do Jameis Winston. Here's the thing with Jimmy. He's totally relying on yards after the catch. He's afraid to push the ball down the field at this point in his career. I don't think they have I think it's a bad fit in Indianapolis. I mean, they have Pittman who goes up and gets it, and then he's going to throw to Naheem Hines and Jonathan Taylor every play. I think it's a bad fit. But that's their business.
I can see why Jimmy wants to be there, though, because, I mean, Reich, Ballard, that's a really solid combo as an organization. So I get that. But as far as fit in their offense, I'm kind of with you. Now, if Indy wants him, what's the price tag? Now, that's the other question. I've had people suggest, hey, conditional 7th-round pick. But then I got to think that the price tag, if it was going to be a conditional 7th-round pick, I think you do this sooner than now. I think this deal gets done weeks ago if all you're getting is a conditional 7th. So who's involved? Is Pittsburgh involved? And there's players. Is a guy like Chase Claypool going to be involved? Supposedly there's a lot of talk that Pittsburgh wants to move him, Grant. I mean, Claypool, if you add Claypool to Ayuk and Debo, I'm intrigued. I think that's a lot better third receiver than Jawan Jennings, to be totally honest.
See, then you could trade Kittle. I'm sorry, we're going to get there later.
Okay, we'll get there. But as far as where and for what, I got to think Indy. I think my read on the Indy situation is that due to the COVID and the vaccine and all that, I think Wentz, Rodgers got a lot of the attention, but I think Wentz, that also impacted the Wentz tenure there. And I think they didn't view him as a leader. And I think Jimmy, they view as a guy who has issues, but a guy who's a leader and a guy that all the players will pull for. So from Indianapolis' standpoint, I think Jimmy looks attractive. I think Jimmy looks attractive from Pittsburgh's standpoint too. And I think Jimmy looks really attractive from Carolina's standpoint because they know Darnold sucks. And that, they know Book's out. They know that that's done. They made a bad trade. And they've got a lot of assets. So as far as people talk about McCaffrey, I don't see a big money guy coming back because we're going to talk about J.C. Jackson later. Part of this getting rid of Jimmy is so you can go get J.C. Jackson. Right. So I don't understand why people are talking about, Michael Thomas or Christian McCaffrey or any of these 17, 18, $19 million players or more. What's your gain there if you're trading $20+ million Garoppolo and you're not clearing the cap room?
I just feel like, sure, Jimmy Garoppolo is more popular than Wentz, probably better in the locker room, but Wentz is better than him. Wentz threw 27 touchdowns and 7 picks last year. Jimmy was 20-12. I think Wentz is better. He can move. He's younger. But I think with what's going on is Indianapolis probably does have an offer on the table for Jimmy. I'm guessing they've offered something. It's probably not that great, Larry. It's probably not 2 threes, which is what they got for Wentz. It's probably not that. And I'm thinking the Niners are saying, okay, let's float that we have an offer that Indy's interested to see if we can get a third team to come over the top. That's the way I read it. Because who's leaking this right now? Indy? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a great question. Who's leaking that? I would take the 2/3 and get down the road, especially if I felt like I had a realistic shot at J.C. Jackson, because Jackson's going to command a massive salary. You know, and I looked at the list of free agent corners. It might as well just be him, because the other guys are, Darius Williams, and I mean, you name it. I mean, the 49ers don't need a corner; they need a true number one corner. They haven't had a number one corner since Deion Sanders left, and not coincidentally, that was the last time they actually won. So I think a number one corner is absolutely. It may not be their top need, but it's among the top 2 or 3 for sure.
Official BNA Music 88 says Jimmy G to Indy or NO for 2/3 and some gas money, 87 only. If he starts 75% of the games, bumping it to 89. If someone offers the Niners 2/3 for Jimmy G, they should thank their star. That would be phenomenal. Take that.
Yes.
Take that.
Yes. Take your 2/3.
I mean, you don't even know if Jimmy's going to be ready for the start of training camp. Like, there's a lot of mystery around. The hope is that he'll be ready for training camp. Okay. Take the third.
No, and also, I mean, the timing. You want to be armed with cap room on day one of free agency, which is what, the 16th?
Yes.
So that means this deal's got to get done, like today or tomorrow or soon. So, I think that's the play. And all the talk by Lynch and others saying, oh, we've budgeted, we could keep them. I don't think there's anybody who buys that.
Indy, I think you're making a big mistake, but it's probably going to be you. Good luck.